First of all, what it's going to take is another Herculean effort by LeBron James, which we can predict. Kyrie Irving balling the way that he did throughout the NBA Finals, averaging better than 25 a game. It's going to take that. There needs to be a sighting of Kevin Love. We know that he can play, okay? The kid, the guy was a walking double-double before he ever arrived in Cleveland, but averaging just 7 points in the finals, essentially getting benched at times in favor of Channing Frye and others. That's something that can't happen. To me, it's going to either take Kevin Love really elevating his level of play, or dare I say GM David Griffin pulling off a heist and getting somebody the quality of a Carmelo Anthony to join Kyrie and LeBron James, somebody of that magnitude. It doesn't necessarily have to be him, but you're going to have to get somebody like him, somebody the caliber of a Paul George, somebody before that trading deadline expires, because that big three, coupled with Draymond Green in Golden State, is going to be lethal. I think that Cleveland's got a shot. There is no doubt about it. But at the same time, Kevin Love can't do what he did in the finals, and Cleveland can expect to repeat. You need somebody to step up as a viable third option. If it happens, the Cleveland Cavaliers can beat the Golden State Warriors in June.
So close, Stephen A. As usual, you bring up a lot of valid points, and yet you fail to put them together properly. Yes, the answer is LeBron has to do his crazy thing where he does the Muhammad Ali thing where you don't think it's possible to pull off this upset, because it would be an upset, and yet he figures it out somehow. And how did he figure it out last year? He tried against Toronto up 3-1. He figured he had a game to kill here. Let me see if I can get Kevin Love going. Let me feed him. Let me do everything I can to bring him along, because let's not forget, when they traded Wiggins, the #1 pick in the draft, for Kevin Love, because LeBron James basically said, why don't you trade Wiggins for Kevin Love and I'll go play in Cleveland? When they did that, they thought they were acquiring, starting with LeBron, thought that the Cavs were getting a superstar. Not a guy who Channing Frye can approximate, as you said, or who Tristan Thompson looks better than at times, or the team operates more effectively with at times. No, a superstar. You mentioned Carmelo Anthony. When Kevin Love was in Minnesota, he was perceived that way by many. As a top 10, certainly, but even as a top 5 player by some. As a superstar, as a franchise player, he has been far from that. LeBron James has to figure out a way to get him back to that level, even if he was overrated at the time. Get him back to playing as good as he possibly can, because J.R. Smith, he's become a perimeter defender, the best on the team, actually, in the regular season. Needs to keep hitting those threes, needs to keep doing that. All the other little parts of the team need to keep doing what they're doing or improve to have a shot against this Warriors team in the finals. We all know that's going to the finals is going to be. But Kevin Love is a star, or the Cavs are not going to repeat, period.
Well, I'll tell you this, and this is the part that you can't ignore about Kevin Love. Numbers-wise, he wasn't that impressive. But during the NBA Finals, as the finals waned, when everybody was getting on him, all of a sudden he was defending better, he was rebounding better, he was banging. And when you think about the Golden State Warriors, let's take one thing into account. Yes, they can score all over the place because they're elite perimeter shooters. The flip side is an Andrew Bogut is gone, a Harrison Barnes is gone. So those are two of your primary defenders that are gone. There's a 7'1" banger who's gone, and you've replaced him, what was it, with Zsa Pachulia? First of all, there's something wrong with that picture. If there's something that should be wrong, my center shouldn't be named Zsa. When I think about Zsa, I think about Gabor. I don't think about Pachulia, okay? So this is the deal. I'm looking at it from the standpoint that one can make the argument that Golden State potentially has gotten a bit softer defensively. If indeed that is the case, because we know that Kevin Durant can defend a little bit. We know that Klay Thompson can really, really defend. We saw that Steph Curry had a little bit of trouble defending Kyrie Irving. We did see that, okay? So when we look at it from that perspective, let's be clear about something. Kevin Love has to play better. He has to up his game, but it's not like he has to be a star in order to produce. He just has to play with veracity. He has to make sure to punish dudes. You got to remember, him in combination with a guy like LeBron has to attack to the point where you're getting dudes in foul trouble and you're exploiting them on a defensive side of the floor. I'm talking about Golden State's defense. You've got to be able to do that. It can be done. But what can't happen is Kevin Love laying back and leaving totally the offense to Kyrie and LeBron. He's got to do more than that. There's no question.
I disagree that the Warriors have a defensive issue. No team is perfect. They don't have the same kind of big presence in the paint in terms of defense that they had. But when you look at who's even going to be in that starting five and talk about 2, Klay Thompson, you talk about the 3, Kevin Durant, the 4 or 5, depending how if they play 5 out or not, in Draymond Green, those guys are all good defensively. Kevin Durant has the ability to play absolutely elite defense. He doesn't always do it, but he can do it. And in fact, we saw that often throughout that Warriors series in the Western Conference Finals. One of the reasons the Warriors had problems was because of Kevin Durant's length and defensive ability.
Hold on, you got to make up your mind, Max Kellerman. You can't sit there and waffle like blueberries or something. Here's the deal, okay? You have been on the record saying repeatedly that the potential kryptonite to Kevin Durant is LeBron James.
Yep.
Well, last time I checked, LeBron James plays for the Cavs. And that's the team that we're anticipating he will meet in the NBA Finals. What do you think? Steve Kerr and them are going to say, Kevin Durant. Well, you go ahead and stick Kyrie Irving. We're going to leave Klay or Steph on LeBron. It ain't going to work that way.
Yeah,
at some point in time, Kevin Durant's going to have to deal with this brother. He ain't going to be able to hide.
Yeah, and while Kevin Durant's dealing with him, you know who's going to be getting wide open shots? Klay Thompson or Steph Curry or Draymond Green or someone they bring off the bench. I mean, there are too many. They are too deep right now. And if you think of the reason, we'll talk about this later in the show, but if you think of the reason that Golden State lost, you really want to get into X's and O's. Harrison Barnes couldn't hit a thing. Now, instead of Harrison Barnes, it's Kevin Durant taking those shots. It's trouble. It's problems.
Well, we know that Golden State's the favorite. The question is what can be done to derail them. And I'm telling you what it is. Kevin Love has to elevate his game, or David Griffin has to make a move before the trading deadline. Outside of that, Golden State is believed to be a team that can be exploited defensively. Not to mention the fact that, again, you've got a lot of basketballs. I think they'll figure it out. I think they'll be explosive offensively. They'll run roughshod over most of the league during the regular season. But when it comes to that 7-game series and you're trying to figure out what must be done, what has to be done, et cetera, what you have is a situation where you've got somebody in LeBron James who can attack the basket. You've got the Cleveland Cavaliers as the reigning defending champions with that chip off their shoulder. Let's not ignore the fact that pressure does break pipes. And we're talking about a guy in Kevin Durant that decided to leave Oklahoma City after being up 3-1 and then blowing it in the conference finals and then going to the team that actually beat him. Don't get me started with that. I'm in a good mood and I don't feel like getting ticked off, okay? So you got all of that going on, all right? You got to remember, the pressure is on. It ain't on Cleveland. Cleveland's playing with house money. LeBron came back, delivered on his promise. A championship is here in Cleveland, Ohio, because of him. And now they have nothing to worry about.
Well,
they're
if the
playing with
question
house
is,
money because everybody's expecting Golden State. Everyone's expecting Golden State to win.
The question
Nobody's
is, what do they
expecting
have
outside
to
of
do?
Cleveland, nobody's expecting.
What do they have to do to bump off the Warriors? And the answer, as all answers in Cleveland, begin and end with LeBron James. The reason they won this past season, the reason you're celebrating today, is because LeBron James figured out a way to get it done. He tried to bring Kevin Love along with him to the finals. It didn't quite work out. Don't tell me he elevated his play a little. Kevin Love was not a star anymore. They looked for mismatches throughout the game, and then LeBron made sure it was him and Kyrie at the end. LeBron James has got to figure this out, and in this case, it's not going to be enough to try to get Kevin Love to come along like last year, but, oh, it didn't work, I'll figure something else out. Either he figures out a way to get Kevin Love, the star player, back, or they will surely lose to the Golden State Warriors in the finals.
Well, listen, you can say that, and I can understand where you're coming from, but in the end, it's not for me, as far as I'm concerned, it's not for LeBron James to figure out Golden State. It's for Golden State to figure out LeBron James, because LeBron James is going to be coming. And it's just that simple to me. I mean, think about it.
LeBron figuring out Golden State.
I'm saying he don't have to figure out Golden State. They got to figure him out because we know what he's going to do. Well, how you going to stop him? And that's really what this comes down to.
They're going to spread the floor and shoot the lights out is what they're going to do.
Well, you know, that's how you feel.
Yeah.
That's how you feel. But
Correct.
the facts are, who's standing here right now is the reigning defending NBA champions. That would happen to be the Cleveland Cavaliers. So what I'm saying to you is, if you're Golden State, again, I'm looking at the people that they have in place. Now, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson don't have much to prove, but Kevin Durant does.
Look, yes,
and
LeBron
it's going to be real
needs to get
interesting
into
to see
Kevin
what he
Durant's head
does.
the same way he got to Steph Curry's head when he's dunking on him, staring him down, and putting that doubt in his mind. LeBron will surely also have to do that to Steph and now Durant too. But this is an impossible
he has to
task
do it like he
he's
hasn't
trying
already.
to do. Well, but not with Kevin Durant on the
You're saying
team.
that he has to
They went.
he's
They
already
went
done
2
it to Kevin
minutes.
Durant for years.
They went 2 minutes in the fourth quarter plus without scoring a point, the Warriors, and that's why the Cavs won. It came down to Game 7 on the road, and they just added KD. So, yeah, LeBron got his work cut out, and he's the underdog.
I'm just saying. The point is, you're saying he's got to figure out a way to get in Kevin Durant's head, talk to NBA aficionados, and they'll say to make the argument to you that he's already in Kevin Durant's head, that he's a big reason why Kevin Durant didn't even come to the East.
Don't stay there. Then my advice to LeBron is stay right there. Stay in his head. You're going to need it.
Okay.
Stephen A., to
All
your
right.
earlier point,
We good.
pressure bust diamonds, pressure bust pipes, it also makes diamonds, the ones that the Cavs will be getting in their rings tonight. And they have a chance potentially at a three-peat. So if the Cavs and Warriors face off for the third time in the finals, it'll be the first time in NBA history we have a finals trilogy in 3 straight years. No surprise that those two teams have the best odds of winning the title this season. Spurs, Clippers, Celtics have the next best odds to win the chip. So what team has the best chance to derail a finals rematch? Mr.
Stephen A.
I'm going to say, believe it or not, everybody wants to say the Clippers. I want to as well, but damn it, that Blake Griffin's got to step up, be healthy. And DeAndre Jordan, could you hit better than 50% for the free throw line? Pretty please, with sugar on top, it would be nice. I know it's popular to say San Antonio because now you got Tim Duncan gone, Pau Gasol, and David Lee are there with Kawhi Leonard and LaMarcus Aldridge. But there's something, it's call it my spidey senses, something tingling. I don't know how to put it. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder has arguably the best shot to derail Golden State. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But when I think about the assassin that is Russell Westbrook, when I think about the fact that they added Victor Oladipo, who can ball, as your new backcourt mate. So for the first time, they really have a backcourt mate with Russell Westbrook. Yes, Kevin Durant is gone, and Oladipo doesn't make up for Kevin Durant. But Steven Adams with Enes Kanter and those crew, I don't like the fact that they lost Dion Waiters, but I'm looking at Oklahoma City and the fact that it is clearly Russell Westbrook's team, and he doesn't have to defer in any way, psychologically, literally, or otherwise, to a Kevin Durant, and how bad he's going to want to go at them. And I'm saying to myself, in terms of the best shot, I could see the Clippers, something happening to the Clippers to derail them, even though I would love that matchup between the Clippers and Golden State because they hate each other. And plus, I'd rather be in L.A. than Oklahoma City. I ain't gonna lie to you. The bottom line is, I got to look at Oklahoma City with Russell Westbrook and say that they may have the best shot of anybody out west of knocking off Golden State and derailing this trilogy.
Man, did you overthink this one? You got the right answer, and then you kept adding and subtracting until you got the wrong answer. The Oklahoma City Thunder have no shot. Oladipo takes some pressure off Westbrook in the backcourt in a sense, but who's going to shoot the ball? They got no shot. No one has a shot against the Warriors. The best, and clearly in the East, that's a given. Barring catastrophic injury in Golden State, that's a whole other story. But barring catastrophic injury to like Durant or Steph Curry, knock wood, that doesn't happen. The answer is the Clippers, but not as currently constructed. They would need to make a deadline deal for a 3-and-D player who can actually play. A Luol Deng type. I don't even know. They don't have the assets on the books, but they have some salaries that would match up. They'd have to do future draft picks or something. But if the Clippers could get a competent 3-and-D player and everyone stays healthy, they have the best shot to derail a rubber match. No one else does. The Spurs would have to move Aldridge for a piece that fits better. Then they'd have to develop chemistry over the course of the year. That's too big a thing to move in your team. It changes the dynamic too much. And while Pau Gasol at this point is an offensive upgrade over what Tim Duncan was last year. Defensively, he's a massive downgrade, even over a slowed-up Tim Duncan. I don't like the Spurs. I think the Clippers got the only puncher's chance, and then only if they get a real 3-and-D guy before the deadline to play the 3, because the 1, 2, and 4, 5 are all right.
This is what annoys me about you, because you'll say all of that, right? And then you'll knock me for saying that Kevin Durant has ruined my regular season. Because during the regular season, there's no suspense. So here you are talking about, oh, it's good to watch and you never know and blah. But then you sit there and you articulate all of this other stuff. This is my point. That's why I consider it so weak that he decided to go to that team, being the superstar that he is, because it's a game of horse as far as I'm concerned. Look, Steph Curry is arguably the most unselfish superstar we have seen outside of LeBron James. He don't care about his numbers. He doesn't care about anything. He's willing to defer. It's not a big issue to him. Klay Thompson ain't going to defer. He's going to get his shots. He's not going to change his game. But Steph Curry doesn't care if Kevin Durant sits up there and does what he does. If Kevin Durant is dropping 60, they're going to help him do it. They're going to try to make Kevin Durant have a season for the ages. It's going to be interesting to find out, but at the end, it all comes down to this. We will be right back here in June. It will be Golden State. It will be the Cavaliers. It will be the trilogy. It's just that simple.
Yup, and it may be the greatest rubber match in the history of the NBA. I mean, it could be argued with what's at stake and the level of the teams and how they dwarf the competition in each conference.
I do have a wish. First finals when Cleveland lost to this team. Kyrie Irving was hurt, all right? And pretty much Kevin Love. LeBron James was a one-man army, and he had no help. Last year, Steph Curry wasn't 100%. Draymond Green got suspended in Game 5. Andrew Bogut was hurt for Game 6 and 7. Iguodala was as well. I'm just hoping that both teams stay healthy so nobody has any excuses, any rationale whatsoever.
By the way, you talk about the Warriors. That's on the Warriors. Don't play Steph Curry in overtimes of meaningless regular season games down the stretch if you want to limit the risk of injury, as they did last year. Draymond Green, don't do things when you've been warned and people are watching you that might get you disqualified. That's very different than what happened to Kyrie. Anyone can get hurt, but the Warriors, those were largely, I think, self-inflicted wounds going into the finals and in the finals last year. And even if you want to say that, well, it's not necessarily playing Steph those overtimes that led to the injury, it certainly didn't lower the risk of injury. I don't buy the excuse for Golden State. I do buy the Kyrie and Kevin Love excuses for the Cavs the season before, because when Matthew Dellavedova is your second-best player, you ain't going to win.
It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. It's a reality. Regardless of how self-inflicted it was, it factored into the outcome. All I'm saying is that in the end, I want both teams fully loaded, fully healthy, where there's no excuses, no rationale whatsoever. It just is what it is. The two best teams going up against each other. Again, we'll be back here in Cleveland in June.
All right, you heard from the guys. We want to hear from you at home. Go on Twitter now. Vote for the team you think has the best chance to derail a third straight meeting of the Cavs and Warriors in the final. Spurs, Clippers, Celtics.